Hello, this is Telomere, and welcome to another repair video. In this video, we're looking at a couple of phones in this one. One of them is an A52, and the other, I think, is an A15. Now, the A52 is pretty clear-cut what the issue is. If you look at this just the correct angle, you can see that the screen itself is broken. I think what had happened with this one is I had spoken with the customer, and I said that if he gives me this phone for free, even though it's busted, I will do a data transfer for him from this phone to this phone. Now, the issue with this is that this is very frustrating. This phone, he dropped in the toilet. It's clean, though. He has cleaned it up. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I just sniffed the phone. It smells fine. He's cleaned it. I don't know what was in the toilet when he did that, but the phone has been water damaged, and he said that it was working for a time. He had put it in rice. Rice is, it doesn't really work. It really doesn't. You want to go and get your phone to get up and running. You do want to dry it out as quickly as possible, but rice doesn't really do all that much. So your best option is put it somewhere somewhat on the warm side, and you don't turn it on at all. You make sure the phone is off, and you let it dry out as quickly as possible. Your better option is to bring it to a technician so they can open it up and then dry it themselves using an ultrasonic cleaner with some 99% isopropyl alcohol. And that's what I'm going to do, because it won't turn on. We got to remove this back cover. It is a really weird looking cover. I think this is completely plastic. It would have been shattered by now otherwise. We got to get that cover off. It should come off really, really quickly. And that's what I'm going to work on first. I need to get this phone up and running. The other one is going to be a lot easier to do. I believe I've got an A52 screen on hand already. I have it ironically marked as defective, but I have a feeling that it is probably not defective. Okay, we've got all those screws out. We got the back cover off, and now we just got to go and get the rest of the way into this creature. We got to unplug the sensor for the fingerprint reader. Nice. We have it. A little bit farther in. I don't see any corrosion on the battery itself. The battery connector looks fine. We're going to take everything else out, though. I need to take a look at that motherboard. Let's see what's going on with it. I also need to take a look at the daughter board there at the bottom, because the daughter board can also cause problems with the phone not booting. So that's another one that's worth taking a look at. Okay, you got one screw holding in that board, and there doesn't seem to be any screws. Oh, there's just one. You got that one screw in there. You'll notice that there's a copper ring around it, which indicates that that is a motherboard screw, not a frame screw. So these screws will be the exact same size. All right, got that out as well. Now, I didn't even bother to go and do any further testing. I really wanted to see what was going on in the deepest level here. Is it just me, or is that a little chip out of that board? Okay, I'm not going to worry about that. Let's take a look at it underneath the microscope. So you can see there's a lot of corrosion in there. A lot of corrosion. That charge port needs to be replaced. It also got a little bit of material there. This is likely the only reason why this phone is not working, is simply because of that charge port. It needs to be swapped. I highly doubt there's going to be any other water damage that I'm going to find on this this phone, but let's take a look around and see what's going on there, just in case. So far, so good. Everything has been, everything that's important has been covered up with some sort of material to protect it, give it a little bit more waterproofing. Let's take a look next at the main board. And an area that I'd be most interested in would actually be the SIM tray, because that is an area that could allow for some liquid to get in. What's going on here? I think this is all fill. Even though it looks kind of gross, it does just look like fill. Even this right here. Got some down here too, though. I'm going to give this a bit of a clean with some isopropyl alcohol, just in case. I'm going to take the cameras off. Just light gunk. I'm still not fully sure if that was even water damage, to be honest. It looks like it, though, just by the copper right there, that copper hole. Does look like it's got something around it. Having some difficulties take a look in that port, but it looks clean. That was the SIM card reader. Yeah, you can see that right there. Those pins look nice. No problems there. What is this? A little bit more water damage, I see. This is definitely water damage. You can see that little bit of crispiness right there, right on the edge. That's the other camera connector. You see it all the way up there as well. So there was some water damage along this area. I think I might be able to just clean it up quickly. The pins themselves look fine, and I don't think I see it anywhere else that is spread. I don't know what that is. I am positive that I need to put in a new charge port. It's very corroded looking. Can't really show it right in here, all that. Oh, that's not bad. Even there you can see there's a bit of a chunk out of the port, which is actually not that big of a deal. What's most important is the charge port pins. I'm going to see if I have one on hand in stock. If I do, I'm just going to replace it immediately. It definitely looks correct. So that's what we're putting in. We got to remove this. There is also some fill on the back of those pins that we got to remove. Right across here. To get that out, the only way that I can get it out is to heat the board up. Let's get it up to temperature first. Oh, I gotta get my vent turned on. I don't want to be breathing this in. Oddly smells kind of good. Might be my breakfast I'm smelling though. That was gooey. Okay, let's tin the new port. So you gotta heat up the board first, and then after heating up the board, you can just drop the port in. There you go. That went in proper. Is it flat? Yes. Just want to go over these. I'm gonna go over these pins. I just gotta throw some solder into those joints at the edges. Okay, there we go. See if that has fixed our port issue. Here is my tester. Testing. Maybe it's because it's not plugged into the rest of the phone. Okay, that's all connected. Let's see what this thing says. Interesting. I don't know what that means, but we do have six pins. That's a far cry better than what we had. Let's do some further testing with an amp meter. As soon as I'm plugging this thing in, it immediately just stops, which isn't a good sign. Well, I've switched out the port now another 2 times, and the first time was because I'm still getting used to my new my heat gun. It's still not good. But this is interesting. If I plug this in right now, it will not do a test at all. And I'm pretty sure that's a good thing. If that makes sense. The reason why I'm saying that it's a good thing is because I'm pretty sure what's happening with this before was that there were shorts. And that's why both of these amp readers were just immediately shutting off on me. Let's see if everything's going properly now. I saw 3 and 3 last time. Oh, that is exactly what I want to see. That's a good pinout. We're receiving a charge now. Will we see something on screen? No. There should have been some sort of something, you know? I should have been able to see something on screen to indicate that the phone is charging. Let's see if it does anything now. There's a little bit of battery power in it, at least. I just felt the phone vibrate. That's encouraging. But the screen is still not doing anything. The screen looks fine, is the frustrating part. I don't see any issues. It's good and clean. I mean, I couldn't see much beyond that, but I mean, is there any cracks in the panel itself? I mean, I see scratches, but that's not the same. I wonder if water got into the screen itself and killed it. It is definitely on. Like you can hear it when you plug it in. You hear that? Just nothing on screen. I could try replacing the screen. I don't have a screen for it on hand right now. Well, it's been a bit. It took a little while to go and get the part that I needed for the continuation of this repair. So I gotta take this back apart. I've got the part right here. And let's see if it really is just a screen replacement that this thing is needing now after I've finished off doing the charge port. Okay, we got this all together. Last, I did clean up the glue just for kicks and giggles, but let's see how this goes. And there we go. We got something on screen. Oh, that feels good. So now we do need to do a test, but this is very reassuring because, I mean, I had to replace the charge port, and that was done. It showed good results. I also got a bit of vibration out of the phone, which also showed that the phone had to have been turning on to some degree. The last process is to make sure that the digitizer is still functional. It's really low on battery. Let's get some power into it so we can actually test it. Yeah, I got a pin. I think I know the pin. The customer sent it to me. It's even right here. I should be able to test it from here just by using the emergency call feature. Just topping around. Looks good. That looks promising. Okay, but nevertheless, it is working. That is very, very reassuring. Let's get into this phone and let's give it a test and see what's going on. It looks like the back cover is not particularly well glued on. I'm going to guess that this phone's been worked on before. There you go. Got a bunch of screws to get out. I'm going to get that glue off first. It wasn't too hard. I've already disconnected the battery. I just got to take away that sub cable. Talking about subbing, if you guys like the video, please consider giving me a like. You know, those likes really do help me out. And if you want to see more of my videos and stuff like this, subscribe. So, what's going on here? Well, I got to test this screen out. And to do that, I'm going to have to move some parts over immediately to the new screen. Now, I have, as I said earlier, I got it marked as being defective. And that's just because of another phone that I had been working on, which I wasn't 100% sure if the screen was, in fact, defective. So, here is me trying it again. And just maybe, I'll get lucky. And maybe that other phone is simply got another problem. Gotta take that SIM tray out first before we take anything else out. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get that motherboard out. Oh, there's a screw. I almost missed one. There's a motherboard screw right here. It's really loose. So this is just testing at the moment. So I can throw this in immediately. I'm not even going to worry about that haptic motor. And you got another one of those motherboard-based screws, circuit board screws. I believe they're the same size. They are. The charge connector itself looks fine. It's seen a little bit of wear, but it's not bad. And I need to get this battery out. That it's going to be a little bit more on the difficult side because clearly this battery doesn't have any pull tabs. So alcohol it is, let's get it drenched. That was surprisingly easy. It's far easier than I thought it was going to be. There is a possibility that if I don't put in the motherboard screws, at least right here, that I will not be able to get the power button going. So we'll put those in, and may as well put this screw in as well. I'm going to need to take the screw back out though, just so that I can get the last remaining giblets in, if this is working. So let's power it on and see what happens. Nothing's happening. Taking a charge, 1.3 amps. Nothing on screen though. So I'm starting to wonder if just maybe the screen may actually be defective. I'm going to put the haptic motor in. The only reason I need to put that in is because it will help me also identify whether or not anything is actually turning on. So I'd like to give that a go. With all that in place, in theory, I should get maybe like a little bit of a vibration when I connect this. Oh, it vibrated. The phone is on. Nothing on screen, but it did vibrate. So this screen, it must be defective. Two different phones, two different A52s. Oh, and you hear that too. Phone is definitely on. This is great news, because this screen has been sitting on my desk for ages with that question mark. Defective? Not sure. I'm gonna take this apart and let's get that screen sent off, and I'm gonna order another one. I just realized I have another A52 also marked as defective, but I just couldn't imagine there being two defective screens in a row. It's extremely rare. In fact, I've never encountered it before, so I just assumed that it may or may not be defective. So let's get all this out again before I go ahead and place that order. Let's find out whether or not that is truly the case. Time to try it again. That's not encouraging. I mean, the phone is on, but there's absolutely no display. I'm going to take a really quick look at the connector right here underneath the microscope. I'm probably not going to see anything special, but I'll take a look anyways. Well, look what I discovered, guys. This is the connector that goes onto the main motherboard, where you're going from the daughter board all the way up to here, and it also connects the screen. So let's get that really well focused in. There. Check this out. You see that? It's cracked all the way along. And it's not just there. See this corner right here? It's cracked there as well. So this needs to be replaced. This connector needs to be replaced. Now, I don't know if I could just solder those joints back together. Is that a possibility? Now, if I solder these back in, it might create enough stability for this connector that it would be good. Why not? You know what? I'm going to try. I'm going to try with the soldering iron. We will see. We'll see if that is successful. I'm going to have to take this out of the phone, mind you. But yeah, we'll see whether or not that's possible. I don't know. Let's see. Let's get my tweezers again and just give it a push. Okay, this side is definitely a lot more solid than this side. But yeah, it is soldered in place now. So that's interesting. That's good to see. It's still discouraging though, because this is cracked. Very clearly cracked. For testing purposes though, this might be okay. So I'm going to give this a bit of a cleanup, and we'll just go from there. So if this works, I've got it back in there. If this works from just doing that small amount of soldering, we'll know that officially the issue with the other phone is likely that same connector on that other phone that is, I think, in my parts bin. It's very likely completely fine, and I just need to replace that connector. Not that, the other way around, that these screens are perfectly fine. Let's just see. I'd really like to change out that connector though. It'll make me feel a lot more confident. Oh, look at that, guys. 2% battery. I'm going to turn the phone on right now, and I'm going to give that connector a bit of a wiggle. Here we have it. It's on. Okay. So let's just give this connector a little bit of a wiggle. Seems to be okay. I'm just pressing on the connector right there, giving a good wiggle, but it seems to have worked. So this phone is up and running. So there's this really neat feature that Samsung has, which is known as smart. What is it called? Smart switch. Just down here. Oh, it's not smart switch. Yeah, smart switch right there. You got to open it up on both phones. and it'll allow you to transfer data directly from the old phone over to the new one, just using a cable, which is really cool. So I'm going to send data here. I'm going to do it by cable. It's going to ask me to connect. I'm going to go over here, tap on receiving. It's going to be a Galaxy phone and hitting it on cable. Now, if everything works properly here, I should be able to just connect this and it should work. There we go. All right. If you go through everything that needs to be transferred, I'm going to take absolutely everything and I'm going to transfer it over to the new phone. So, or other way around, from here to here. It had asked about transferring over accounts. It wanted me to type in the passcode on the old phone so that it would go through. And there we go. It's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to leave it at that and we'll come right back to it. And that's it, guys. That transfer has completed. It's looking like this now. So it's gone back to the before. So it's gone back to the before the transfer was done. Now you'll see that the phone is actually not complete. Like I haven't put this one back together yet, this A52. And the reason why is because there's this weird pulsing thing that's going across the screen. Yeah, I can still see it. I don't know if you guys can see it on screen or not, but every once in a while I see a little line going across it. So that screen, I believe, is defective. It's the only way to put it. But this phone is all done and fixed. So if you guys like the video, please do leave a like. And if you want to see more of my stuff, subscribe. We'll see you guys all in another video.